Welcome back to our channel. So today, i-share namin sa inyo kung paano kami nakapunta dito sa Canada, yung story. Yung iba nakalimutan na namin yung my exact date, but sa ma-remember lang namin, i-share namin sa inyo. I'm sure every immigrant here has different story. So this is our side, this is our story kung paano kami nakapunta dito sa Canada.
So in translation to our non-Filipino viewers, we're gonna talk about how we moved here to Canada, specifically to New Brunswick.
Yung first is yung desire.
Yes, so we first have a desire. So this is a journal. I keep a journal. Every year we have a yearly goal. So in our goal, there's always a plan to move to Canada. It started in, 2015 or even before 2015 maybe.
I think kasi sa Cebu, every Sunday, meron kami, hindi naman every Sunday, pero may gathering, family gathering with his cousin. Mga 4 families ata. So, just discussing, okay, what should we do? So, parang okay, how about let's go to Canada? Or let's go to New Zealand? Or let's go to Australia? So, nag-research. So, first is New Zealand. Nice din naman ang New Zealand.
Yeah.
But at that time, parang hindi talaga yung, parang hindi maganda yung research namin, or parang mas mahirap makapunta ng New Zealand, except if you're a student. And then next is Australia. Yeah, maganda din sa Australia, pero we pursue sa Canada. So, yung cousin niya na nauna,
they came here with the old program, the previous program.
Hindi yung express entry. Sa amin kasi express entry na. So, the older program is parang first come first serve yun. So, sila, they process everything earlier, so nakapasok sila sa older program. So, at that, parang 1 year lang sila process, and then they got the PR already, and then they moved to here in Canada. Sa amin naman, nahirapan kami kasi bago yung program, which is an express entry. If you're sa express entry, you need to have points, higher points. Kasi kung hindi maganda yung points mo, hindi ka talaga ma-invite, mabibigyan ng ITA, which is invitation to apply. So yung invitation to apply is binibigay yan na if you have 430 or 450 more,
The
government of Canada will
you.
give you an ITA. But in our case, since yung age,
Low yung points. Dahil
very
sa
low
age,
lang.
high sa education,
No, sa
sa
experience.
experience, konti sa education, but dahil sa age, it was lower.
yeah,
Because
so
of that.
very mababa talaga. Yung parang mahirap talaga, hindi ka talaga may invite if you want to do something, if you want to do research. So that's why, so in 2015 naman, kasi na kami kasi parang okay, let's go to Canada. So yung cousin niya is kumuha siya ng agency.
Yeah.
And then, so kami naman, din kami.
Starter,
Okay.
wala kami alam pa.
Yeah, no, wala talaga kaming alam. We didn't do research, we didn't, so parang, sige, mag-agency. So, nagbayad kami ng agency, and then, binigyan kami ng mga requirements sa agency. So, at that time, akala namin, pag makomplete namin itong requirements na to, makakapunta na kami sa Canada, ganun kadali. It's wrong. So, after namin ma-accomplish yung mga requirements, which is ECA, yung parang ipaprocess mo yung credentials mo, yung educations mo sa West or sa iba.
Sa pang education association.
Yeah, yung parang sa ICAS or ISQUA something, or parang siyang West. And then, kailangan ng IELTS, and then, yung parang job description from your company, or madami pictures, madami talaga siyang requirements. Ginather namin yung mga requirements namin, and then binibigay namin sa agency. And then, pagbigay namin sa agency, after months, months and months, we didn't hear anything. So, akala namin,
so, akala namin it's the same process before na you will lodge the application. Yun yung term nila dati. We will lodge namin yung application, but it's not. Because it's already the express entry process, which is point system.
So, wala kaming natanggap ng mga news sa agency. So, what we did is we did some research. So, So, but before we did some research, binigyan kami ng information sa agency, which is naka-help naman yung agency sa time na yan, is binigyan kami ng venue or ng information about New Brunswick. Na ang New Brunswick, pupunta ng Philippines, especially sa Cebu, is magbibigay sila ng info session, and then pupunta sila, mag-gather yung mga tao.
Introduce sila sa province.
They will say something about the province. They will invite people to come to New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Pero hindi siya guarantee, but at least they will invite you.
Pero yung info session kasi that time, siya yung parang isa siya sa mga tools para ma-invite ka ng New Brunswick. So kami, first na attendance namin sa yung info session, wala kami talagang alam. Yung parang, ang dami-dami doon kasi doon yun sa Radisson Blu. So ang dami. So kami, first timer pa, so wala talaga kaming alam. So okay, nakinig lang kami doon. And then we did some research. So, learned about New Brunswick, we learned about provincial nominee program, na ang New Brunswick is meron silang provincial nominee program. So, may mga requirements din kailangan gawin.
So, that's one of the way we got here is sa express entry with the provincial nominee ng New Brunswick, which is, it is one of the things that's very advantage if you're moving to New Brunswick because they have that program for nominee program. Some provinces they also have it, pero iba yung categories.
Pero hindi sila nag-info session. Ang New Brunswick lang talaga ang pumupunta ng Philippines to have an info session.
Yeah, and the info session will help kasi you will list your name there as you attended this info session, and then during the application sa province you will write na
kailan ka
nag-attend, anong date nag-attend, you put it in the email, and then that will be one I think that's one of the reference na you were one of the attendees of the info session. Okay,
so after the first info session, after few months na naman, bumalik na naman sila, nag-info session na naman sila. Pero that info session is very special kasi magbibigay sila ng instant ITA. So, parang invitation to apply.
At ito, we have our papers na. We have our
At
papers,
that time,
I have my IELTS,
we are ready.
I have our IELTS.
So, parang excited na kami nga. Kasi nakalagay doon sa info session na, but before you go to info session, kailangan ka muna mag-register para maka-attend ka ng info session. So, nag-register na kami, and then naka-attend na kami ng info session. Tapos nakalagay doon, prepare your IELTS, your ECA, your everything. And then, nagdala pa nga kami ng mga bank statements, something like that. Pero yun, ready na kami, we're excited kasi at that info session, they will give you instant ITA. Yung parang
ITA,
golden ticket.
That's the invitation to apply.
Yeah, that's the golden ticket talaga. Pag may ITA ka na talaga, parang you're halfway there. After the info session,
stay
for interview or for assessment, something like that. At that time, yung sikat na tao na nasa info session palagi is si Jake. So that time si Jake nag-interview sa amin. Okay, binigay na namin yung paper namin na, okay, this is your IELTS. Okay.
Your education, yes, that's good. Your experience, yes.
And then
your IELTS
it's good.
It's good.
But
mag-turn na yung age ko.
And then,
few months after it, I will turn 1 year older, which will lower down our entire points.
So yung sinabi ni Jake sa amin is, okay, just do your IELTS again, aim for higher score, and then just email me. So yun.
Yes.
Na very...
That was...
Yung parang...
Depressing
at that time kasi parang we're already there, we have it, and then sinabihan kami na
more stress for me.
You have to do it again, you have to apply again, you have to yung hinawakan ko kasi is sinabi niya na just email me. Inigay niya sa amin yung email niya, just mention
email me if your IELTS is already a little higher.
And then your IELTS are done. So ganyan. So at that time, very stressful. Parang gusto namin umiyak, we want to shout. Bakit ganito?
You also? Just me?
Me. I'm just sad and
no, because I have to retake it. I have to retake the IELTS kasi I'm the primary applicant. So yung points ko, for those who's taking IELTS, you can probably relate. Yung points ko of my previous IELTS, I have to increase it a little bit so you can see the pressure of relearning again the IELTS, studying again, making sure yung next test mo is better than the previous one.
At saka yung nakakasad din, kasi at that time, parang ready na kayo. Ready na yung papers nyo, and then akala nyo, mabibigyan kayo ng ITA, then nothing happens.
So we walk out the hotel.
Na parang gusto namin umiyak. We want to shout, bakit ganito?
Yeah.
So unfair! Yung parang ganyan, pero wala kami magagawa.
Yeah.
And then, so after we retake it, akala namin, pag-email namin si Jake,
Meron
na.
So I got my points higher, actually a little higher there. So babalik yung yung score namin to the level na gusto nila. But after emailing,
we didn't receive any
response.
email back. So what we did is we waited again.
If we only knew yung process, siguro hindi na kami mag-agency. Because after that, wala na agency, kami na lang nagpa-process yung documents, diba? Kami na lang nag-process, so we could have saved a lot of pesos if we have already knew it. Because sa Canada, if you're applying, you don't actually need an agency. Kasi yung sa website, yung instruction doon, that's what you need. Doon sila nag-base na like that. So you can do it with your own. Siguro you just need information from, there's a lot of, yung mga Filipinos have a lot of forums. Those who are moving, so there's different forums. Yung sa amin, may forums.
May student forum din.
May student forum.
So after that, so nag-wait na kami. And then, at that time, parang mas matagal yung waiting namin. Kasi hindi na sila nag-change na. Hindi na yung info session, nag-change na into AIPP. Yung parang pupunta they will still go to the Philippines, but they are going there with employers. They're sending yung mga trabaho na kailangan nila. So yun yung mas mahirap kasi hindi na yun sila magbibigay ng ITA. It's a different pathway na naman. So yun. So ginawa namin is nag-EIPP kasi sa Manila. So ang ginawa namin, pumunta naman siya ng Manila, nag-attend siya ng EIPP. Kahit saan na may mga info session ng New Brunswick, pinupuntahan namin.
Yes,
kasi
nag-join kami ng 4 info session.
3 info session and then 1 AIPP.
AIPP sa Manila.
Sa Manila.
So I traveled to Manila para mag-attend lang.
Pero
hoping na may points na naman.
pero in our case, yung parang grabe na yung parang expensive na for our case. But some people we know na they went to Hong Kong talaga just to attend the info session, and then Dubai, they will go to Cebu just to attend the info session. So if you really have a desire, you will do everything everything talaga para maka golden ticket ka lang papunta ng Canada. So after doon, walang news, walang something na okay, mag-info session naman sila sa Cebu. And then after sa AIPP, yung parang before October 2017 ata? Before October 17, nag-open 2017, nag-open ang New Brunswick na they are accepting EOI, Expression of Interest. So, kasi pag mag-attend ka ng info session, after that, you are eligible to send your EOI. Yeah, to of course, New Brunswick lang.
Yeah.
So, at that time, 2017, before, o parang August ata? August. Parang August, nag-send kami kasi nag-open yung kasamahan namin sa forum, yung mga tao doon, sometimes, talaga sila, yung parang tinitingnan nila palagi ang New Brunswick, kung they will open. Kasi pag maglagay doon na, we are open for EOI, so lahat pag-apply ng EOI. So, at that time, nakapasa na kami ng EOI. So, yung EOI is parang lang siya, yung parang letter lang. Pero mayroong form din na lalagyan kayo kung ilan ang IELTS mo, ilan yung mo, ganyan yung parang proof of funds mo din. So, nakapasa kami ng EOI and then we receive an AOR, which is Acknowledgement of Receipt. So, yung parang, okay. And then, October 14, that was the day because we received a golden ITA, so invitation to apply, October 14th.
And that was Kelly's birthday.
Yeah. And then, so, kasi sa amin kasi, yung ano namin is, ako yung nag-research. I am more on reading, everything. And then, sinasabi sa kanya. Kasi wala naman kasi akong work. Siya nag-work. So, wala siyang time to do research. So, ako ang nag-research. Siya lahat, paperwork, answering, something else. Tapos, when I received the email, so ginising ko kagad siya kasi call center.
Anong oras siya?
Midnight na doon.
Midnight, yeah.
So parang ginising ko siya, oh, we have an ITA! So parang we are so excited. We were excited.
Hindi kami natulog.
Yeah, parang hindi na kami nakatulog after that. Yeah, okay. When we received the ITA, then we started na ano yung mga papers namin, yung mga requirements. Madami din yun, yung mga
So, file your requirements, organize it as much as possible. So, parang kaming may thesis pagkatapos ng requirements.
Makapal yung pinadala namin. Oo.
So, from everything from birth, marriage, yung every application, arrange it.
Pero doon kasi, pag sa application kasi may mga form, nakalagay doon na
Follow mo lang.
I-follow mo lang. And then, kailangan din yung kailangan, example na meron mga hindi mo ma-explain or you just lagyan mo ng explanation. Parang sa amin, every merong letter of explanation. Yung parang,
then may kami, may nilagay kami na sticker para hindi mawala.
We will show you a picture of our documents. Yung before namin sitend, we will show you.
Yeah, we have a picture of that, so we'll show you a sample.
December 11, we receive the nomination. Yung nomination is, you are nominated by New Brunswick, so bibigyan kanila ng 600 points. So if you have 600 points,
plus yung points mo,
so you have
so
double.
For the CIC or sa Canada na immigration requirements na, you will reach the points that they need you.
Okay. Yeah, so once we receive the nomination, meron na kaagad, you will just go online and then click accept the nomination, and then after that, you will be in the draw of the CIC, yung parang sa Canada talaga na government. Don't quote me, pero parang every week may draw sila, and then once you have, pag nandiyan ka na sa express entry mo, and then you have more than 450 points, automatically, you'll get an ITA. So at that time, kasi meron na kaming 600, 6, 7, 8, 9, 900 something points, so we immediately get the ITA from the CIC.
From Canada.
From Canada talaga.
Hindi lang sa province.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
Doon na kami nag-process naman ng papers for CIC.
Yeah.
So yung sa CIC naman, kung provincial nominee ka, yung parang sa amin nominated kami ng province, it's easier kasi yung papers namin is ready na. The same lang naman yung requirements na papers sa province at the same time sa federal o sa federal sa CIC. So what we did is we scanned everything lang and then we submit it. But with the bank statement, if yung outdated na talaga yung bank statement mo, much better if you will provide a newer one, a latest bank statement. And then December, that's December 2017, nagpa-medical na kami. And then na-process na December, and then we just waited and waited.
Yes.
We were so excited.
But the chances are really big already because you're already nominated by the province, you got the points, or you're just waiting for the federal approval.
Pero sa amin kasi, hindi pa kami nag-rejoice or we don't tell people pa na, we are going to Canada. Kasi meron kasi kami naririnig ng mga story na talaga may yung parang
hold up sila sa application.
Lalo na if yung nag-review ng papers niyo is very strict. So, konting mali lang is ni-decline na kayo.
Importante yung mga letter of explanation sa application.
At saka,
explain it.
Importante yung NOC nyo at saka yung job description nyo are
matching sila. Walang discrepancy para hindi nila detect or magka-question sila.
Okay. And then just be honest talaga. Kasi Canada, they have ways on how to check your status. And even you're in the Philippines, they have ways to check it. And then we know someone na hindi niya dineclare na he lost his passport, but I don't know, bakit na ano kasi years, matagal na niya lost yung passport niya pero hindi niya dineclare na he has a lost passport. So nakita din ng Canada, nakita nila. So just be honest in everything and then just have money talaga. Proof of funds is very important too.
Yeah, so don't kami din nag-start sa where do we get the money to transfer.
Yeah, it's very
yung
hard.
bahay namin, ibibenta.
Yeah.
Those things.
Parang meron pa kami hindi binayaran. Bayad lang kami ng yung parang application namin sa pag-process pero meron pa kaming hindi nabayaran. Parang May ata yun? May 2018. Tanaw da there.
Yeah, 1st of May, we received a call from Canadian Embassy that they will be needing our passports.
Okay, so May 1st, we receive a call from the immigration that they need a passport. We need to pass our passport.
Yeah.
But we need to pay something first before we give them our passport. Kasi parang meron pa kami babayaran nun. So, I remember that you receive a call?
I got the call. They tell us to pay, and then pay this amount, and then we need your passport. So that's already...
No, I think they tell you to pay this and then we will give you your PPA,
Yeah.
which is passport o PPR, yung parang passport request. Pag passport request na yun yung parang
That's the stamp for your permanent residency.
Yeah, kasi hihingi na nila yung passport ninyo and then dalagyan na yung parang visa, yung parang may visa na permanent resident. So, we were so excited then at that time, that day, na parang, yung parang malapit na talaga. So, binayaran namin sa online, and then we received the PPR email. Then, we went to, yung parang sa Cebu.
3 days after, we sent our passport.
Oo, pumunta kami kasi sa Cebu merong office doon.
Sa Keppel building sa Cebu.
Oo, pumunta kami doon, and then, pinadala namin yung passport namin and then I think after 2 weeks or 1 week, we received our passports with visa na.
Your Canadian permanent residence.
Yung parang ganon.
Yan ang mga happy moments.
Yan yung parang happy moments namin na, this is it.
Finally, after how many years? 2015?
15 kami nag-start yung desire namin, 16,
And then
17.
2018 May.
Yeah.
We got the passport.
But yung processing talaga, yung parang mabilis din.
Mabilis din talaga. Express talaga yun. Express entry. That's why it's called express entry.
Yeah, so after that, we planned everything na, mag-resign na siya, and then we prepare.
Sell our house, or
sell our house.
Saan naman kunin yung...
Prepare our money.
Ano na month kami pupunta dito. Gusto namin hindi pa mag-winter, hindi pa mag-snow.
So that's why we decided to come here September kasi September start ng class here and then hindi pa siya snow, hindi pa siya nag-snow,
Hindi siya medyo malamig.
So our starting here is a different different story and different video naman. So I think yung take home yun lang dito sa video namin, sa experience namin is first, you just have to have a desire. If you really want to come to Canada or to want to New Zealand or you want to any countries, you just have a desire. And then research, do some research talaga. And then because para sa amin, na-realize namin na we just wasted our money sa agency.
We could have saved money.
Pero we're not saying that it's bad to have an agency. No, it's not. If you have the time to do research,
and do it yourself.
Then do it yourself because you can save a lot of money. But if you don't have a time and couple kayo and then pareha kayo nagtatrabaho, then wala kayong time, you don't need nababasa yung mga fine print, then hire an agency because they will also help you. Pero sa amin,
but you still have to research. For me at first I said agency na lang sila na bahala lahat.
Yeah, dumating sa point namin na sinasabi ko sa kanya and hindi siya naniniwala sa akin, mas naniniwala siya sa agency. And then he's telling me na, no, because they have more experience because agencies sila, they've been doing this for how many years?
Kaya pala, hindi. You have to research because like our experience, mas madali yung ginawa namin.
Yeah, so
because we move forward faster.
And then kasi may maraming mga kakilala na mga ganyan.
Yes.
So and then do your research and then kung wala din naman kayo, kung financial yung problem coming to Canada kasi need talaga ng money papunta dito sa Canada. So just save first And then,
Marami ding nag-ask sa akin how to come here. I always tell them, read the website sa Canada, sa federal website, at saka if may mga provinces, then read their website.
that's our experience. That's our experience, and then in coming to Canada, on yung mga process namin.
Yeah. So, we're in MONCTON.
Yeah,
We chose MONCTON kasi may 3 cities dito. So, sabi nila New Brunswick. So, there's 3 main, St. John, Fredericton, or MONCTON. And MONCTON is parang yung hub or central. Yeah, madali lang siya to PI, to Nova Scotia. So, kaya we chose to be in MONCTON.
Our experience was not easy. There's a lot of tears. Yung parang, oh, it's just so tiring. And then yung parang, kasi we are not rich in the Philippines. Until now, we are not rich.
We're rich in heart.
Yeah. Kasi doon, pag meron kaming alam na yung parang nakapunta ng Canada is, oh, ang dami nila, mayaman sila, madami silang pera. So kami parang, how to go to Canada? Hindi naman madami yung pera namin kasi ang alam namin, pag pumunta ka ng Canada, you need to have a lot of money kasi yung proof of funds. So, para-paraan lang naman.
Yeah,
Just find ways. Yeah, there's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. And then pray lang talaga. You need to be prayerful. Sometimes, nakaka-disappoint lang yung mga nakaka-disappoint. But ano lang, ngayon iniisip namin, kasi magastos din naman pala, no? Pero, it's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah.
So we've been here already almost 3 years.
Yeah, almost 3 years.
We're
3
gonna
years.
be working na naman sa citizenship. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully kasi yung passport namin is paso pa.
So yung passport.
Expired passport namin.
Yeah,
So,
that's it.
this experience is, we are not telling you that this will be also your experience.
Yes.
This is just our experience. We are not immigrant. We are not professionally.
So, basa-basa, read, search kasi ang province, Canada is changing their immigration every year. May kunting changes, I think, to protect.
So ngayon nga,
their
hindi na
process.
sila nag-info session. They don't go
Yes.
to countries to do info session. So iba na. So iba naman ngayon. But New Brunswick, masasabi namin is, there's a lot of ways here to come to be a PR here in New Brunswick.
Yes.
So if you really want to go to Canada ASAP, then go for student route.
Yeah.
That's a good one too. But
And
mas magastos lang siya, pero if you have the finances, then go for it if you really want to come to Canada.
And for all the provinces of Canada, if you really want to be PR, I think one of the best province is New Brunswick. The Atlantic provinces, either New Brunswick, PEI, or Nova Scotia, dahil sa AIPP program.
Okay, so thank you guys for watching, and again, we are not professionally, yung parang, alam namin lahat sinasabi namin, so this is just based on our experience.
So thank you so
Thank
much
you so much
for
watching. I hope you learned something, or if you have questions,
throw your questions there,
Yeah,
and she will answer, maybe.
we will try to answer
We
your
will
question.
answer your question.
Alright, thank
As much
you,
as we can.
bye!
Bye-bye. Say bye, Bree.